Hey everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I am Justin, the security.
I'm Nico, and I am the merch guy for tonight's concert.
And I'm Dan, the live sound engineer.
And today we're reviewing We Summon the Darkness. Directed by Marc Meyers, this stars Alexandria Daddario as Alexis. We've got Maddie Hassan as Val, Amy Forsyth as Beverly, Kian Johnson as Mark, and Johnny Knoxville makes an appearance as Pastor John Henry Butler. So the year is 1988, a vintage year. Right, Nico?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Wait, what is the categorization for what makes something vintage? I know it's 2021, but that wasn't that long ago, was it? Are we old now?
Of course we are. And three friends, Alexis,
Wow.
Val, and Bev, are heading to a metal show. Now, there have been some satanic murders in the area taking place, kind of surrounding metal shows, but the trio are mostly unconcerned. At the show, they meet three metalheads, Ivan, Kovacs, and Mark. And together, the group enjoy the concert together, and they pretty much have good times. I mean, it sounds good. Right, Nico?
It sounds great, Justin.
But what
sounds
happens, Dan?
just great.
So they have a good time. After the show, the boys decide to, shoot their shot. And Alexis ends up inviting them back to her father's house. And
Father's house.
House. And they continue the party. So the group has some good times, and they rehash some old metal debates, which I guess weren't old at the time anyways, like the formation of Megadeth, events that led to that, Cliff Burton's death, that kind of stuff. And they end up playing the game Never Have I Ever. So during the game, it's actually revealed that the girls spiked the boys' drinks and the guys pass out.
I mean, what happens when they wake up, Nico?
So they are stripped of their drawers and tied to chairs. Kinky. Except not really. Alexis reveals that they are, in fact, the killers in a plot to frame metalheads and Satanists and thus draw people close to charity in some sort of 5D chess honeypot type thing. Ivan is killed by Alexis, but Bev is feeling more hesitant and asks the other two ladies to just join her in the bathroom really quick for a mid-murder meeting sesh, you know how it goes. Yeah. Dan confirmed murderer. This gives Mark and Kovacs an opportunity to escape, and they manage to hide in the pantry.
That's probably where Nico would go if I'm going to be real. But, I mean, Dan, what happens after?
So Alexis and Val are trying to get into the pantry so they can get to the remaining two guys, and they send Bev out to the barn to find some tools. So meanwhile, Alexis's stepmom, shows up to randomly get some Coke, like the drug Coke, and her passport because she's about to go on a
just
trip.
hankering for a good old cola.
Coca-Cola. And for some reason, her mom calls the cops because she thought somebody broke into her house, even though she was going to get Coke. So I don't know why you would do that. But ends up that Alexis actually kills her stepmother, and Val kills the cop that then shows up shortly thereafter.
All right, heads are starting to roll a little bit, Nico, but how's it kind of close out?
So in the barn, Bev finds evidence that Alexis's father, who is a famous pastor and the mastermind of these murders, is embezzling money. Shock and awe. She goes back into the house and takes out Val afterwards. Meanwhile, Alexis's father shows up and kills Kovacs. Pour one out for you, boy. He then makes his way upstairs and finds Mark fighting Alexis. He shoots Mark, rather ineffectively, we might come back to that, and attacks Alexis for screwing up the plan. Bev shows up, though, and incapacitates her father, and Alexis, in turn, attacks her. She trips on some handcuffs, though, and just absolutely Team Rocket blasts off again out the window. Bev and Mark escape after running over Alexis' next thing.
Yep. And the movie really closes out with, Bev and Mark gathering up it's rather Bev. Mark's in the car, but Bev's getting some medical supplies. And that's what it's kind of revealed, that she actually, I guess, had the psychic foresight to take a box of money and stick it in their escape vehicle because they've got a ton of money and they drive away. The end.
Yeah.
Happily ever after.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. They're probably just gonna take it and like blow it on backstage passes or something. But let's
And
go
more
ahead and-
coke.
more
Yeah,
coke as
blow it on
always.
blow.
Yeah. Hey, don't do drugs, kids.
Never that. But let's talk about the audio. Dan, what do you think? I mean, particularly, first off, we got to address the fact that at least a good chunk of this movie, you know, is to do with metal, to go to a metal show, which, by the way, guys, the lyricists may have gotten a little sloppy with the lyrics on the song they play when they're at the show. It's basically nothing but just like Hail Satan repeated over and over again.
Very creative.
Tell me about the audio, Dan.
I mean, I thought the audio was fine. To me, personally, there wasn't anything that stood out in a good, well, I don't even want to say good, but not bad way. Just, it was okay. There was nothing stand out about it, but it was acceptable.
Okay. Nico, anything from your end?
So there is one thing that I will say. This movie made me feel very nostalgic. And because like I myself and just all of us here at DOTD, we used to go to shows all the time, in particular metal shows and stuff like that. And this sounded like a metal show. It sounded like people were at a show. So that was nice. But apart from that, it's kind of like Dan said, this is another one of those situations where as long as nothing stands out as bad, you're in the clear. So the sound design was, it was cogently done.
Okay. And I do have only one more thing to contribute to the audio. Towards the end of the movie, Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle plays. Now, I have listened to that song quite a few times.
Why is that?
In the last week.
Oh,
Why is that?
yeah.
Just kept watching this movie over and over again.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you go on like a spiral downwards into 80s pop and 90s and whatnot, and you find like that one song, Toy Soldiers, the Eminem sample, but like the real song. You find
sure,
this there
true.
too. You know, what's it called? We built the city on rock and roll. I forget what that song's called. Walk Like an Egyptian, all that. So the point being though is that song didn't sound like Belinda Carlisle's version. And I have to know, is that a cover? Is it like a demo cut that I'm just not aware of? And I know this because there's a part where she's like, and we're spinning in a like space of love or something, and I'm not afraid anymore. And she goes, and I'm not afraid anymore. She does that. Go back and listen to the single.
She does
Go
what
back.
now?
She goes, and I'm not afraid. Like, go back and listen to it, guys. You'll hear it. You'll fucking hear it. And in the demo, yeah, that doesn't happen in the demo. Or I'm calling it the demo. But
What probably happened is when you use commercial music and film, or commercial music has two copyrights: copyright on the song and copyright on the recording. So in order to pay half as much as they could, a lot of movies will hire a band to cover the song essentially and get it to sound close to the original. So they still have to pay for the song usage, but they're not paying for the recording because they're not using the original recording. So, you know, the original copyright holders could have said, yeah, if you want to use that recording, it's going to be 10 grand. And the movie said, no, we'll hire a band for 3 grand and, you know, cut our expenses.
okay.
Fun fact, that is how most of the music was introduced into the Guitar Hero and Rock Band series.
Huh.
The more you know.
The more I know. And yeah, whether or not that happened, I can't confirm, but I can tell you that's not the original recording. Or the recording that's the most popular.
Heaven is a place on earth.
Now we're gonna go ahead and you know what, Nico, you've been running off at the mouth, man. Go ahead and tell me about the visuals.
Visuals kind of suck.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
No, they don't. They don't actually. I'm just being a little overly critical on one aspect in particular. There were some special effects that are in the movie, in particular gunshot wounds and fire that just look like they were made in Flash Player, and it's just, you can really fucking tell that it's fake, and it just kind of ruined the impact of not only the violence that was going on in the moment, but also just it took me out. Like there would be a moment where one of the characters was shot, and then suddenly it looks like someone just sprayed a fucking ketchup packet on their neck. And I don't know if that is the same way that y'all saw that, but I just was not impressed with the visual design of the effects. The rest of it, you know, like the cinematography was, you know, decently done. I don't have anything anything to say about it. It was just cogently made, but really just those moments where they had the extra little, like, it almost looked like word art levels of silly in some parts. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Personally, I didn't really see too much of that. Like, I didn't think it was amazing, but I didn't quite get quite that far in negative on the negative side of it, I guess.
That's fair.
Okay, I think from my perspective, the thing that jumped out to me most visually were the cuts away from violence, which I hate that. And there was one or two examples where, and I'm trying to think right now of the biggest one, where, okay, so at the very end of the movie, they run over Alexis, you know, she's kind of the big bad almost, and they run her over. But we never see it. We don't even get to see the collision. And then at the end of the movie, they show like some blood on the front of the car or something like that. And I'm like, boo. I wanted to see it. The movie's rated R. Why not? And I found myself asking that question a couple times throughout the movie. I mean, the movie is rated R, but I feel like the violence is PG-13 with maybe one or two kind of minor exceptions. But I don't know. I felt like I wanted more. And I'll talk about that, you know, a little bit later. But more so in terms of the visuals of it. First off, let's just say some of the cuts could have been redone. There's one in particular where Alexis, you know, as we said before, she trips over some handcuffs and fucking flies out like a window.
Yeah, she soars out that window.
And I'm like, there's no way. Like, trust me, dear listeners, if you see this, you'll shit yourself laughing because there's no way. There's just no way with the momentum she had that it's
like someone
Jordan-esque.
stepped on a banana peel in a cartoon.
It's like someone stepped on a banana peel and then they got hit with the blue shell. That's what it looks like. Okay? Because she flew out the goddamn window.
She fucking Angry Birds that shit. It's like she was slingshotted out of there.
That's a good description,
better.
actually. Yeah.
And the best part was it didn't even keep her down for long.
Yeah.
She was bleeding out the head, but then the Bev and Mark get in the car and drive away, and somehow she got in front of them. She must have been like fucking super speed booking it down the road.
You know what happened?
Yeah, blood loss. What's that?
She flew out the window and she turned it into a roll to like save her kinetic energy, and then like that's what
Was she
happened.
Sonic the fucking Hedgehog doing a homing attack?
I don't know, man. But
gotta go fast.
That's what stood out to me though in terms of the visuals. Dan, anything for you that you haven't already mentioned, or are we good to proceed?
Yeah, not particularly. I mean, that's mostly it. I personally thought they were fine. Nothing stand out good, but to me, just like the audio, like nothing too good, nothing too bad for me. I thought it was fine.
All right. So let's now go ahead and talk about something that the movie does a little bit differently from maybe some other films, which is this movie kind of follows the killers from the get-go. Now, Dan, I'm going to let you kind of take the lead here. I think it's important to let others take the lead sometimes. What could the motivation be behind this? And do you think it was effective?
I think one of the motivations was, you know, at the beginning of the movie, the three girls are the main characters. And there's no real true indication that they are the killers. I mean, there's like kind of hints. There's hints, definitely. But I mean, it's not like the movie straight up says, hey, we are the killers. Like they don't tell you. But yeah, if you're paying attention, you can kind of piece together that they're the killers. But, you know, it's sort of, I don't quite want to say a surprise or twist or anything because, again, you probably caught on. But, you know, it sort of tries to pull the wool over your head. And it's like, okay, now these are the killers. Now they're sort of the bad guys. And I thought it was kind of interesting that typically we don't see movies from the antagonist perspective or from the killer's perspective, I guess I should say. So, you know, it started with that. And then Bev kind of becomes a good guy, and she realizes that she has kind of been duped and feels bad about potentially killing people. So she becomes sort of a good guy and teams up with Mark through most of through that part of the movie. I just found it really interesting that we kind of start from the killer's perspective and then sort of move towards the non-killer's perspective. Except near the end, it was sort of like from everyone's perspective. Like it was not a clear, hey, this is the protagonist or clear perspective, I guess. But I don't know. I just thought it was different. It was a little different than what normally happens.
All right. Well, maybe we need to change our perspective here. Nico, What do you think about this?
So I've got a question for you two, actually.
How you gonna? Okay.
Do you think do you think that the movie would have had more momentum and been improved if there was just a clear cut in perspective at the halfway point where we just switched to the perspective of Mark and Kovacs the rest of the time?
So you might hate me for this, but I don't. I think this movie would have been pretty similar either way.
Okay. What makes you say that?
I think Marks and Kovac, well, let's go over what they did, right? Starting around that point. So they escape and they run into the pantry.
It's not a whole lot.
And then they stay in the pantry.
That's my point. They stay in the pantry, they get arrested by the cop and then go back into the pantry. Then they go back out, Kovacs gets offed, Mark does a little bit of fighting and then escapes.
Here's the thing, too, that, like, I pose this as largely just a thought experiment and also to hear your thoughts, but even if we did get their perspective for the second half of the movie and it suddenly turned into some sort of stoic character drama, one, it's not, but two, the tension in the movie is pretty non-existent, and even in those scenes, like there's a part where the killers try to set that room on fire, but Mark just throws his shirt on the fire and it's fine, and then the other two are just like, damn it. Like, it's kind of cartoony, actually, but we can talk about more of that later. I don't know. I wanted to pose a question.
I think it would have been kind of cool if it stayed as like Alexis's perspective, like the whole time. I don't know that it would have necessarily made the film better, but it would have made it even more different than other films. Because as it went on, it became more of a standard, like
slasher,
sort of
I can't even call
Home
it that.
Alone style, kind of, I guess.
Like a home invasion almost.
Yeah, trying to, oh no, these people are after us. We're trying to get out while killing, stopping them, whatever. So I feel like, again, maybe it wouldn't have made it better, but it would have made it more unique if the whole time the perspective was from Alexis. And we were watching her trying to stop them from escaping. And then her father comes in and she has to fight her father for messing it up, whatever.
I have a question for you guys. What if the movie had done it so maybe instead of like the girls killing off the guys, maybe some cult members from their church would be killing the guys off, and the girls instead would be trying to like lure them into situations where they were being killed? Because I think for me,
that sounds like a more interesting movie.
It does. And I think for me, the big thing here is Nico pretty much nailed it on the head, hit the nail on the head, had nails. So I think that everything's flat. When you know that these are the killers and they're also kind of incompetent,
there's no tension.
No.
There's no tension. There's nothing. And that was one of my bigger problems with the movie. But I think we can carry on from that into something that we all actually liked, the character design. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this. I live in the year 2021, but I really live in some distant future past neon city where they play like vaporwave.
358 over 2 days.
Pretty much, bro.
Kingdom Hearts title looking ass motherfucker.
Oh shit. So
talking future past days. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, the point is, I really liked Alexis's jacket. I guess I should just say that.
They had some nice jackets. I like Mark's jacket too.
I thought their jackets were really awesome.
Actually.
Yeah. Who was it that was wearing like the classic like metal, your battle vest?
Was that Ivan?
Who was wearing that?
I think that was Ivan.
Or
Bev. Was Bev wearing one too?
One of them was. I forget who was wearing
I think Bev was, because she had like patches and shit.
Yeah.
The problem here, dear listeners, is that none of the characters are memorable.
All right, let's talk about this then. Nico, Val, what was her biggest, most memorable trait? Shoot for me. And shoot being an operative word here.
Okay, so I don't want to be put on any fucking list for this shit to whoever's listening. Her main character trait and the most defining character trait of the three protagonists is that she has to pee like all the goddamn time. And she brings it up as a as a non plot? I don't fucking know. Like, they're in the car in the beginning, and she spends a good portion of the time literally just yelling, like, I gotta pee, can we stop? Why didn't we stop earlier? Like, the fact that
It should be a piss count.
I was
Probably
literally about to
four
say,
or five times.
I feel like piss is mentioned second only to murder in this movie. Piss, having a weak bladder, I gotta pee, like.
And then metal.
Scenes of her on the toilet or squatting on the side of the road, like. Hey, Mark. Hey, Marc Meyers. Are you good, bro? Are you good? Do you want to talk? Because we're here. It's okay. If you've got some sort of things you need to work through, come on, we'll do an interview. It's fine. This is a safe place.
I was just
also,
gonna
what
say,
the fuck's wrong with you?
Somebody somewhere had a fetish. I feel like that's pretty clear and obvious.
Okay, we're going all askew with the fucking order. Why? Why was there so much pissing in the movie? Fucking why? There was no point for that to be a part of the narrative.
The only person who I feel like would know the answer to this. Let's go to our resident waterworks expert.
Oh,
Dan.
Thanks.
What do you think? What do you think is going on here? Is there any point or purpose, or is it to make her seem quirky?
No, I think it's just to seem quirky. I would have been fine with like the first one in the car. Like, okay, fine. That was just sort of like banter at the beginning, but like they do it multiple times throughout the film. And even like, I think when they call like the mid-murder meeting,
she's taking a piss.
yeah.
She just pulls up.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, really? Really? We
and
doing
like
this
the camera
again?
shows her sitting on the fucking toilet with her pants down. In the middle of this, like, character development that's happening. She's just like, yeah, well, I'm still gonna be doing the thing.
All right, and let's also go ahead and I think we can kind of group them all in together. The three guys, Ivan, Kovacs, and Mark. I mean, they're just like the standard metalhead bro, right?
Yeah.
Is there something more to Mark? Is it something burning in his embarrassingly thin mustache? Maybe his,
Wispy mullet.
or his, just smoldering eyes. Because he's kind of brought up as, he's the guy who's kind of betraying the band, right? He's moving to LA.
I genuinely forgot that until right fucking now, Justin.
Yeah, he was moving to LA to pursue bigger and better, supposedly.
Yes, he's going to be a rock star out in LA.
I mean, I feel like they were trying to make him be like the good guy. He also seems to like, I don't quite want to say have feelings for Bev, but seems to be more than just like, yo, I want to hook up with this girl, hit it and quit it kind of thing.
Right.
She finds a switchblade in his pocket, and he seems to be, and like she like kind of freaks out, and he seems to be like genuinely concerned, like, oh shit, like I didn't mean to scare her or whatever. Whereas, if he wasn't the quote unquote good guy, he would just would have been.
Why would she be scared of that? She's in a fucking murder cult.
That also doesn't
No,
make sense.
she was scared. Well, I want to talk about Bev next, actually. Okay. But the reason why I think she was scared is because she thought that he could foil the plot.
Oh, fight back.
Right. Which, ironically, if they'd listened to her, they would have actually succeeded.
Wait, but doesn't she say that after they've drugged them?
So they're like in the process of drugging them. They're bringing out the drinks to drug them. And she literally goes, he's got a switchblade. And like, oh, don't worry about it. They're not going to murder us. But now let's go ahead and talk about Bev, because she is the character that fills my heart with rage.
Uh-oh.
I hated her character with a passion. You are so chicken shit. Just, if you're going to be in a murder cult, be in a murder cult. So I'm saying.
Fucking buck up and kill a bitch. DOTD stance on 2021.
But I mean, come on. And she walks around the house with this cool looking, like, I don't know, it's a gardening implement
fucking
or something.
Evil Dead ass.
Yeah. And I'm like, she's about to cut somebody up. Nah, just kidding. She flips it around and uses the blunt end. Why?
That was such a missed opportunity, man. It is rated R. Like, why?
Go for it. But I don't know, man. Just, And Dan, can you go ahead and talk about, Alexis? I mean, what can we say about her?
Well, one thing I wanted this film to do is just more of like everything. Like I feel
Yes.
like more violence, more
Yes.
like character development. Like I said, Mark going towards the quote unquote good guy. Like, okay, do more of that. Or Bev,
Yes.
like it almost seemed like they kind of alluded to she used to be a bad kid. She
Talkative.
went to jail, and like out of all of them, she seemed like she actually had a troubled past, bad past.
I also once again forgot that until literally right now because
Yeah.
these plot points were so just like not even mentioned in the forefront. It's just like a passing point.
Right. And I
Preach.
feel like if they like expounded on those and actually developed some of these ideas that they had and kind of laid the seeds for, I feel like it actually would have been okay. But they just, like, the characters were all flat. They had traits that they wanted to explore on and just never did. So yeah, this movie just needed more of stuff.
And you know what? I wrote here that we were going to talk about this movie kind of teasing violence, but not delivering on what it could have. Fuck that. That's for everything. You're absolutely right, Dan. There's metal. I wanted more metal. I
Yeah,
wanted more
that too.
fun. I wanted more life.
Yeah.
You know what? And you know what kills me? I really do have to give a shout out, a very special shout out. Maddie Hassan. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. Let me double check here, see if there's like some kind of, you know what? There's not. Oh, wow.
Actor who plays Val.
I fuck heavy with her performance.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Fuck
She had the
heavy
best
with her
performance
performance.
in the
She had the
entire
best
thing.
performance. She stole the fucking show, and she was limited. Man, I feel like if they really had let her loose, she would have been down for some crazy fucking shit.
And
Because
like a third of her lines were about pissing.
yes, why? I don't even mind that. But I mean, I do. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man. She was just so psycho, and in a good way. And
She
I
had
wanted
charisma.
more. She did. She did. And you know what surprised me the most, actually? So the biggest name on this, by and away, is Alexandria Daddario, right? That's by and away the biggest name, aside from maybe Johnny Knoxville, but he's there for like 5 minutes. So I feel like her performance was kind of restrained a little bit.
So was Johnny Knoxville. Like, that motherfucker is known for being, like, a little unfucking hinged.
Everybody just felt restrained. This movie felt restrained. I felt restrained. I'm sorry.
And
that was too much.
enraged.
But like,
Rampage.
I don't know, man.
Fucking
That was a better movie. But no, I mean,
I,
it just,
They made a fucking Rampage movie? Oh my god, I forgot about that shit. Why are people making these?
you get to
That's
see
money.
a giant monkey fight a giant wolf. You in?
Yeah,
I
hell
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
no. I'm
confirmed.
sold.
That's why they made it. So, but no, I mean, you guys are right though, and I'm right too, with the violence and everything else is kind of being teased. Also, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this here because I don't know where else I'm gonna say it. Why were there so many plot points, like you guys had said? Why are there so many plot points that started and then went nowhere?
Because
Why?
the pacing of this movie is shit. To answer your question, like
Thank you for that.
literally the first 30 minutes of this film, which is the first third, it's just them fucking around at a metal show.
Ironically,
Nothing
my
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Because it made me nostalgic for going to shows and shit. And like, it felt familiar.
Yeah, and it was, I feel like it was real too. Like when they were sitting at the
Yes.
parking lot talking about, yo, what was your first show? My first show was
Yeah,
this
like
band.
that
Just
shit happens.
Yeah, that actually happens, yeah.
I also feel like that was in those scenes, the actors they just seemed more comfortable. And those scenes really hit me. Like those were really good. And it's a pity. More is the pity. And more was the piss. But now I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys this. Of the three, guys, so we've got Ivan, who is he's the synth backup vocalist. I don't know if he plays bass. I forget if he said he played bass. He might play bass too. We've got Mark, who's the drummer. And then we've got Kovacs, who's the ostentatious lead singer. Which one of those most is like us? So everyone has to get one. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, Dan is Mark.
No,
You literally just explained it. Which one is Mark again?
Mark is he's
one
the
who
good guy.
lives.
He's the drummer.
Okay.
He's the one who lives.
Okay, yeah. Dan, you're Mark.
It is Mark. Because Mark is reliable at the end. Mark puts out fires. Mark is like, oh, you're going into shock. Drink this soda and elevate your arm by
That's
this.
true.
God damn,
I
Mark.
can do that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So that's
Did
the
that
first piece.
in fucking high school with what's her name's daughter. Do you remember that? The soccer tournament?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yep. I just remember like everyone was like, oh, I was like, oh.
Where she got knocked the fuck out.
knocked the fuck out. So
Tune into our next bonus episode.
getting knocked the fuck out. So Dan, you're gonna have to choose now. Who is most like the ostentatious lead vocalist? Is it me or is it Nico?
I feel like that would be Justin.
Oof.
That's fair. That's fair.
okay with me. Now that leaves you, Nico,
Means
to be
I'm Ivan.
Ivan. He's reliable.
His defining character trait is that he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
He's got a
He
synth.
doesn't
You've got
last
a
long.
synth.
Yeah.
I do have a sense. Shout out to Moog. If you want to sponsor us, the Workstat 01 is a lovely unit. I'm having a great time.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and head on to the legendary. What would you do? All right. And this is not going to be too hard. The three of us go to a metal show, and, you know what I'm saying, 3 precise, really hot chicks walk
Precise.
up.
Precise. Yo, that chick is looking real ambiguous right now.
Yo, girl, you mad precise right now.
You looking awful vague. I'm real into that shit.
But no, like, I guess you know what I mean? Like, you ever, like, seen somebody like, yo, they looking real precise. They got that precision.
Nope.
No?
Precision, you know, like a paragraph out.
Is this like in the Bible where like when the people looked at angels, they found it like impossible to comprehend? Is that what true precision is? Is precision some fucking cyclopean geometry?
We're gonna move on from that. So, you know, so I guess first off, DOTD does not condone littering on the highway or throwing trash out of moving car onto the highway. But in the movie, basically, the guys, I think they thrown out a chocolate milkshake or something, and it hit the girls' car, and that's what, you know, sparks them talking initially, because they meet up at the show later. So let's say some, you know, 3 girls walk up and they're like, "Oh man, you guys are just got all the swag. Are you guys trying to watch, you know, go to the metal show with us?" Would you say yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Okay, yeah. So we all go watch the metal show, and we get out, and then, you know, I guess that would be you, Nico. You're like, "Hey, you want to go somewhere else?" And they're like, "Come back to our estate." He.
Yeah.
I mean,
Going back to the estate, yeah.
probably,
Okay.
yeah. I am
And
dumb.
and then they give us all drinks, and we're, you know, like kind of turned up, and we're not really paying attention. Are we gonna know that we're about to get knocked out?
No, not really.
No, we would all just fucking die.
Yeah, I've come to the
Yeah.
realization that we're all just gonna die.
Yeah.
This is the worst. What would you do ever?
No, wait. There is an opportunity.
Oh, is it an investing opportunity?
Maybe not for you, Nico, because you being Ivan, you'd be dead next scene.
Yeah, I just can't shut the fuck up.
Well, no.
That
Here's
would
the
be my
thing.
demise.
Here's the thing. I kind of feel like if I rolled a toxicity resistance,
Wow. Wow.
I feel like I might have like 3 more seconds. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Fucking
I'd die.
vile bloom ass motherfuckers.
Nah, I would die. I think we're all dead here in this. What would you do? And blame it on being a young man. What can you do? At the same time, I also wanted the bonus round, Nico, the male
Oh.
gaze. I gazed upon the male gaze multiple times in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly with Val. They always seem to really want to square up right on her ass.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And at first, I am a fucking disgusting animal. I am. But at the same time,
Sam,
right?
I am.
I was like, oh, nice. Wait a second. Gosh darn it. This is not cinematography. This is appealing to my basest instincts. I kind of want to see what they do next. And then they'd follow it up with like a kind of a give and a take, right? Like an arousing ass shot, and then she goes to take a piss, as if they're trying to link the two.
There's some motherfucker out there is listening to this and something just awoke inside of them.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh no.
They're hearing this and they're like, the movie just sounds terrible, but I feel like I know who I am now.
But I guess kind of quick question, and this is perhaps the most serious thing we've talked about in the last 20 minutes. But Nico, for a film with 3 female leads, would you have anticipated for it to really not have shots like that? Considering the fact that the idea of sex is pretty much killed, you know, pardon the pun,
Yeah.
within the first, like you said, half hour. After
Yeah.
that, it's straight up murder, and they still persist. So these shots are there for no one's benefit but the audience. Not that they aren't anyways, but we know that like no sexy times are happening in this movie unless it's getting real kinky. But yeah,
I almost am surprised that there's not more.
Okay.
Because-
carry on.
Once again.
Because right. There's there's a couple ass shots, but I mean, she's also like in jeans. Like, yes, you are seeing her ass, but it's not like she's wearing like skimpy shit. And I think that's the only like the couple shots like that are the only sexualized things in there. It's not like none
She's
of them
choosing to be sexy in that point. Like she's, very clearly trying to pose in a way that highlights her curves and stuff.
There's a
So-
couple
I mean, that's the camera, though.
There's a couple of shots
Well-
where like it has nothing to do with her, like when she's like trying to set the little room on fire. Like
I'm
there's a
thinking of that
scene-
exact same shot.
Yeah, where
I got
she
a
like
screenshot
bends
of it
over to,
from Rotten Tomatoes,
Wow.
not from me.
Wow.
From Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has the fucking
Okay.
screenshot up.
Okay. But
They do. I promise you.
But I mean, like, none of the girls are like scantily clad or anything like that. And like Justin, like you said, there's no other sexual things in the film at all. So even though, yes, there are those shots, I'm surprised that there wasn't like more. Usually you'd see like a barely dressed girl or something, but that wasn't in the movie really. So
Although, I mean, their outfits were nice, though. I really liked their outfits. I thought it was quite attractive, their outfits.
I did too. But that's standard metal girl
Yeah.
shit,
True.
Yeah, one thing that I will say about the appearance of the characters is, once again, like, yeah, they look like people you would see at a metal show. But in regards to the like male gaze and everything, there's two things I can say about this. One, I mean, you can't help the way that your body is. That's just how she looks. So when she bends over, you're just going to see that. But two, this movie frustrated me on that note because this is something that was, I feel, almost trying to be kind of like a girl power, almost like there's some motherfucker in BuzzFeed who's going to try and do a feminist reading on this, and they're going to fail when they realize that nothing actually happens in this movie that is significant, and the characters
Holy
don't
shit.
have any growth.
Wow.
I'm
Holy
sorry.
shit.
Wow.
You just
Pew, pew,
melted
pew,
my
pew,
icy,
pew, pew.
icy heart. Fucking pew, pew, pew.
This movie sucks
Reload.
dick.
Pew, pew.
Wow.
So fucking hell.
How do you really feel?
So, time to go on
This is
to
the first
fucking...
review of 2021. We started
What are you
last
talking
year
about?
with The
No, it's not.
Conjuring.
No, it's not.
The
not.
first recording of 2021.
Fucking pull back the curtain, why don't you?
I will.
All right, so we're gonna go on now to the I think at length I think we can safely say, lads, that we've discussed the points we didn't like. And so let's go on now to the critic review, shall we? Okay. Thanks, Justin. All right. So
Nice segue. Nice transition.
I appreciate you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you. The critics, believe it or not, got this one sitting at a 69%
You're shitting
Nice.
me.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Fucking nice.
You know, this isn't the only movie we reviewed that had 69 as the review.
But why this movie?
And the audience has it sitting at a 34.
Oh,
So, yeah, I mean, time to put down your mark. What would you guys give this on a scale from 1 to 100? And I'm very, very, very interested to know, because I'm gonna keep it real. My opinion of this movie is moving in some kind of like parabola. It, I guess if you don't know what a parabola is, go back to fucking math class. So, Dan, no,
Hold
stop.
on.
You're
I
looking
gotta
up a
Google
parabola.
that.
it's a fucking bell curve.
No,
If you don't know what that means, it's like the letter U, but you turn it
It's
upside
like a
down.
parametric EQ. I got
Oh my
you.
god,
Fucking-
you fucking nerds.
wow.
Simple concept. Oh, wait. It's just like very advanced concept.
Don't worry about it.
So anyhow, scale from 1 to 100, Mr. EQ, what would you give it?
So you know how sometimes we say that like throughout talking and doing the podcast, we have a better understanding and appreciation of the film?
Yep.
I wish we hadn't reviewed this one, because after after I watched it, I was like, this movie's all right. This movie's okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And now I'm like, this movie kind of sucks. So I'm going to have to give it a 45. Nah, 40. Because 50 is my like, okay, so 40.
Okay. Now, Nico, I'm going to ask you to come sliding in here. What's your position on this?
I'm going to give this a 27
Mm.
in honor of the musicians that we've lost to suicide over the years, who could have had a much longer, much better career, similar to how this movie could have been so much better, but instead it sucked. And I now realize my previous comparison didn't make any sense, but whatever, fuck this movie.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Well, he gave it a 27. He gave it a 40. I am really surprised that I'm somehow walking out of here with the highest score.
Wow, yeah.
I am too.
I'm giving it a 42. Not a 40 as well, but the number 42. Because here's the deal. I really enjoyed the first 30 minutes of this movie. I liked it.
The not horror
Yeah,
part.
it was nostalgic.
And I really kind of feel like the plot there's so many threads that just fall apart. Why does this happen? Can we not just have a good old fashioned cult? Why has it got to be this elaborate scheme to get people to hate metal and Satanists and therefore draw them closer to the church? What? How does that? And then, but on top of it though, so that would lead you to believe that the cult is like some kind of like uber religious, scary cult. But then the preacher is just embezzling money for like holiday homes and stuff like that. So,
Joel Osteen, what?
haha, you're right, of course. But I don't know, man. It's just what the fuck. I can't dig it. So yeah, 42 for me. Now, we've got to go ahead and what you laughing at, Nico?
Do we?
Yeah, I mean we do.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this one to a friend?
Fuck no.
No.
No. And with that, it also does not get the golden seal of approval. Jeez, man. I think this has to be one of the lowest reviews we've given a movie.
Don't watch this fucking movie. Go watch something else we reviewed.
If you want to watch a metal movie about death cults, go watch Deathgasm.
Yes. I was literally
Yeah.
about to say that. Deathgasm is this movie, but about 5 times better. So,
And then listen
watch-
to our episode. It has our friend
Yes.
Joseph in it. It's fun.
it's a great episode. But yeah, I mean, anyone have anything else they want to say about this one? Ah, man, we just kind of like this movie just fucking ended.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to say? I feel like we kind of, our flow kind of diminished.
No.
Fuck this movie, man.
All right. Well, that's been us here from DOTD. If you like this movie and you want to yell at
And
us,
you're fucking wrong. I'm sorry.
if you agree with us, if you too notice the constant references to urination throughout this podcast and the movie, drop us a line. We want to hear about all of it. At least Nico does. Drop us a line. We're on Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door. And we're on Twitter, again, at DOTD Horror. That's been it from Nico, Dan, and Jus. Please, dear listener, keep yourself safe. If someone falls down, pick them up. And please, don't open that door. Bye. We're never going to make it down this road trip. Guys, I have a bladder problem.
Problem.